The research team from the Household Nutrition Security Project has gathered information from people at various stages of the food chain in St. Kitts and Nevis, Jamaica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Researcher Leonor Guariguata explains how the team is making sense of all this information.
So I think everybody knows that it's more than just one thing at play, driving obesity, but very often we think in terms of the individual. You know, this person needs to eat better, this person needs to exercise more, and they need to change their lifestyle. But what does that mean? You know, lifestyle is a product of a whole lot of things at once, right? It's not just the decisions we make, but the things that we have available to make those decisions, how we're influenced by our friends, what our community's doing, our ability to pay for something, our ability to access the things that are maybe going to be more positive for us. And so it really goes all the way from the grassroots of the person's capacity and ability to eat a certain way or behave a certain way, all the way up to what kind of policies are in place to facilitate a healthier lifestyle. And so when you look at things like that, it can be overwhelming for an individual to think that way. And so people tend to focus at the level that they can work on professionally or at the level that they can influence for themselves. We take an approach that goes straight to the stakeholders. So we get everybody that we can think of across that, in this case, the food supply chain, you know, from agriculture, you know, farmers to maybe Ministry of Agriculture at the political level to the guy working at the feeding programs, at the kitchens, and we will work with consumers as well to understand how they view things. And we try and get them all together in a room and say, okay, you each know a piece of this puzzle. Tell us about that piece. And as they hear from other people, they start to build the connections. So we have a very specific way of doing that with very specific methods that we follow, one thing after the other, and go down a list of things. And by the end of the day, or the end of the session, whatever we have time for, we have what we call a causal map for that main issue we want to get at. And when you look at the causal map, if you haven't been part of the process of building it, you can go, oh my goodness. But it's a bit like when you start contemplating the universe, right? Oh my goodness, there's a lot involved. It's the same thing when we're talking about complex problems like chronic diseases.
Mrs. Guariguata explained that the process is helpful to those involved in the process. It is also a causal pathway to help others understand the best places to intervene to make a difference.
We focus on where can we intervene, what experience have people had already with things that worked, didn't work, why, how do they look at those, who are the key actors that influence, not just have to be involved, but who might come and be interested in sabotaging what you're trying to do, you know, and how do you deal with that? And being realistic about those conversations. So at the end of the day, we have a really informed way of looking at the interventions that we would like to develop, and with our project advisory group, the direction that we see we can take over the next 2 years.